You mean to tell me that young Jock, the uncontested comedy relief, the walking meme, the love and hip-hop legend with more haircuts than storyline arcs, has been eliminated from season 13? Something isn't adding up. This is not simply a creative decision. This is not a personal break. This was a takedown. And it's not just any takedown. A silent, frigid, off-camera performance by the same producers that gave him TV time for debating over cheating charges while sporting a perm at a salon. There is now a startling hush. Where's Jock? Why is his name not on the promo roster? Why did the network treat him as an unpaid cast member from season 6? Was this Mona Scott's final power move? Or did Kendra pull the plug from behind the scenes? Is Jock hiding something so outrageous and embarrassing that even VH1 said, "Yeah, nah, we can't air that"? One thing we know for sure, this wasn't accidental. This was surgical. So, brace up, because what we unearthed will make you reconsider everything you thought you understood about young Jock, the franchise, and the drama that drives the drama. Baby, this isn't just tea. It's full of love and trendy. Hop Atlanta has. Chaos has always been shrouded in culture, drama, and scandal. But no matter how loud the arguments became or how many wine glasses were thrown, there was always one constant presence: a young Jock. He was the show's comedic relief, an unexpected truth teller, and the one cast member who never took himself too seriously. This made him personable, amusing, and marketable. So, when the season 13 teaser dropped and young Jock was nowhere to be found, the streets began talking, fans were rocked, memes began to circulate, and one question arose repeatedly: where's young Jock? Let us take a quick look back. Young Jock has been a regular on the show for more than 10 years. Jock was always involved, whether he was caught up in complicated love triangles, dealing with barbershop feud, or attempting to repair his relationship with Kendra Robinson. He was one of the few Augusts that remained standing when others disappeared. So, why did the show suddenly cut him? According to insider murmurs, he did not flee. He was softly made to depart. They forced him to quit, and that is where things become muddy and dodgy. According to those close to production, Jock's plot had begun to fall flat. That is right. Producers apparently felt that the arc was no longer producing sufficient heat, no significant drama, no viral moments. And with the show under pressure to reinvent itself and compete with newer, messier TikTok-fueled shows, Love and Hip Hop required fire, not humor. And then there's Kendra. At the end of season 12, Jock's wife stated unequivocally that she was over being ashamed. After a season of lies, side chicks, and public humiliation, Kendra was ready to move on, potentially away from there are also cameras. Now here's where things get interesting. Kendra reportedly refused to film unless producers agreed to specific terms. According to accounts, she desired complete authority over what would and would not be shown, particularly regarding their marriage. No more cheating allegations. No more unexpected appearances by ex-girlfriends. No more Carly Red bursting out of the bushes with a lie detector. But Mona Scott and the production team weren't there for it. They desired the mess. When the mask got denied, they killed the plot. When Kendra backed out, Jock did as well. At least that's what we were taught to believe. However, it is possible that it was more cold-blooded than that. Some crew members believe Jock did not quit. He got sidelined, soft dismissed, and discreetly pushed out. Nobody, not even Jock, was allowed to discuss it publicly. There will be no Instagram rage, YouTube sit-down, or podcast, only silence. This isn't typical for Jock either. We're talking about a guy who has always been loud, energetic, and has never missed an opportunity to make fun of himself, especially when memes were flying. However, this time there is no radio signal, and the silence is audible. In fact, it is so loud that people have begun to speculate about a deeper purpose. Something they don't want us to know. Could this be a contractual dispute? Did Jock refuse to perform a written scene? Did Mona and the ex make an example of him for failing to follow the rules? Jock was rumored to have been offered a reduced part in season 13 background sequences. There is no storyline, only check-ins. Jock said, no, he supposedly believed he deserved more. Actually, he did. He'd been running the show longer than most. But when he replied no, they allegedly iced him out totally. They answered, that's cool. You don't want less? When you combine it with Kendra's refusal to cooperate, boom, Jock's entire existence in season 13 vanishes. However, the filmmakers did not stop there. Nope, they had a new concept, a new cast, and a new feel, and they began bringing in new blood, including Queen Key, 24 Hours, Salma Slims, and a few. He serves as the bonding agent. The show low-key went off the moment Jock disappeared, and I don't care what anyone says. Mona better bring him back for season 14. And that takes us to the next great mystery. If he isn't in season 13, will he be in season 14? Well, brace up because this is where it gets even deeper. Young Jock isn't in season 13. So will he make a comeback in season 14? And hey, nothing is ever permanent in this industry, but the way Jock departed and the complete silence from his side has made people feel uneasy. This wasn't just a break, it was a personal one. Let's talk about the true reasons behind every cut, casting change, and silent quit on reality TV. In this situation, insiders say there was a cold war forming between Jock and production. Apparently, during season 12's reunion, Jock wasn't feeling the way things were edited and believes some moments were changed to make him appear worse. According to one assistant director, "You don't bite the hand that nourishes you." Jock tried to check the editors in front of the actors, which was daring, and that had implications. So, when it came time for season 13 planning, guest Mona Scott and her core staff are said to have intended to rebuild the brand, which is why their name was put farther down the priority list. After years of the same storylines, adultery, side kids, broken marriages, they needed new energy, younger faces, and less predictable drama. And let's be honest, Jock, despite his memeable energy, was becoming predictable, humorous, yes, wilder. Personalities such as Queen Key and Salma Slims flooded the timeline with viral content when they were younger. It's arguable whether they were still relevant. With no filters, no fear, and no baggage to deal with, they were eager to rock the table, and producers loved it. Jock, on the other hand, was now regarded as overly cautious. He wasn't bringing the heat they required, or at least that's what they wanted the audience to think. But if you dig further, you'll notice Jock was being pushed out, not for being boring, but for keeping his ground. Let's not forget this is a man who refused to do bogus narratives in the past. He protected Kendra from getting pulled into another public fiasco. It wasn't going to work to say no to scripted drama in a show that was built on it. So, what did they do instead? What did they do? They gave him less screen time, expecting he'd either play along or walk away. And when he didn't, they completely cut him off. That is being forced out. And the weirdest part is that they did not even acknowledge his disappearance publicly. No tribute, no thank you for your years of service. Production may have believed they'd go on quietly, but the streets aren't forgetting. Fans, bloggers, and podcasters are all talking about it. Everyone is asking, where's Jock? Why did Kendra also go missing? What was the real reason they both vanished? What else is interesting? Jock has been exceptionally. Normally, when a cast member is gone, they would go live, hurl shots, and maybe even expose some DMs, but Jock has been cool. There has been no drama, no tantrums.no. They did me nasty article. Some believe it's because he's taking the high road, while others claim he's plotting something larger. Rumor has it that Jock may be in talks for his own digital series, or perhaps negotiating a return to season 14, but on his own terms. Let that sink in. What if all of this silence is part of the plan? What if Jock is utilizing this moment to reinvent himself away from the clown edits? There's also speculation that he and Kendra are working on a relationship podcast, something more mature, more honest, where they get to control the tale for once. Let's be honest, love and hip-hop only portrays one aspect of the truth, and Jock has been living with that version for years. So if he does return in season 14, he might not be the same humorous guy. Before we get too far into the future, let's return to something that hasn't yet been addressed. The Kendra, young Jock 2.0 may have been cleaned up, rebranded, and is ready to tell his side of the story. Kendra was more than just Jock's wife. On the program, she was also the key to his storyline, adding complexity, emotion, and most crucially, tension. But here's what's being whispered behind the scenes. During pre-production of season 13, producers apparently approached Kendra with a pitch. They wanted to retread prior drama, such as the Carly Red fiasco, the cheating rumors, and all of that. That should have been left in the past. Kendra flatly refused to relive misery for ratings, and when she pushed back, they allegedly threatened to write her out. Jock made a choice, and that choice was loyalty. He stood by his wife and paid the price. Whether you believe it was noble or naive, it's evident. This wasn't just business. It was personal, and the fact that they both vanished at the same moment isn't a coincidence, dude. That's chess. DOS. So, the next time someone tells you Jack resigned the program, ask them again, did he quit or was he checkmated? And with all the smoke surrounding his name, one thing is certain. Season 13 is currently showing, but the actual drama is taking place off screen. If Jock returns in season 14, believe me, it will not be the same intensity, because when someone is hushed and is silent for an extended period of time, they usually come back loudly. So now we've reached the moment where the show has moved on. Or so they want us to believe. Season 13 is in full gear, and the cast is more vocal than ever. There's new strife, new drama, and new faces fighting for the spotlight. But you know what's crazy? Even with all of that going on, young Jock's absence is still the loudest thing in the room, because no matter how, regardless of how many fresh females appear to carry the show, or how many phony storylines are inserted for shock effect, the audience can tell when something genuine is lacking, and in this case, that missing energy is Jock. People are starting to see it today, not just as fans, but as observers of the whole love and hip-hop machine. This ain't just entertainment anymore. This is control. Control of the narrative, control of the personalities. See, when a cast member starts thinking for themselves, questioning, editing, pushing back on manufactured drama, or, God forbid, defending their true marriage from being destroyed on camera, the machine begins to tighten. And young, for years, Jock played the clown, providing them with memes, viral comments, wild clothes, and complicated love triangles. But he did more than just push back. He walked away with integrity of it. He laughed at himself, let the internet ridicule him, and always came back for more. But when it came to Kendra, you could see the shift. The humor evaporated. The man began attempting to create something genuine, but being genuine in a phony TV world makes you a target. They wanted him to continue playing dumb, cheating, getting caught, and turning his true. And when he didn't, they cut him. However, the more they try to eliminate him, the more people notice. Social media is full with footage, compilations, and analysis of what really happened, with hot hashtags like #BringBackJoe and #JDeserveBetter. Guess who likes those posts? Names like Joseline, Erica, Dixon, and even Little Scrappy have hinted at how producers control narratives and modify them. So maybe Jock's departure isn't a loss, but rather a wake-up call. Let's move on to what might come next, because Jock's narrative isn't done. In fact, this could be according to sources close to the issue. Young Jock is discreetly working on his own unscripted digital show, which will be more honest, mature, and independent of Mona's business. There's also word that he and Kendra are in talks with a large podcast network about launching a relationship-focused series called Part Therapy, Part T. Think less horrible TV and more healing with receipts. And that is exactly what the public is ready for, since they are tired of phony drama. They want truth, insight, and the true stories behind reality TV editing. And who better to tell it than someone who's lived it? But don't count VH1 out just yet. With season 14 already in development, executives are feeling the heat. Some producers are reportedly pushing for a Jock redemption storyline in the show. They are aware that they made a mistake, that Jock's absence left a gap, and that if they don't address it right away, the audience's loyalty to him may be lost. Season 14, a surprise return, complete with a dramatic on-camera sit-down, possibly even a forgiveness storyline with Kendra. But here's the thing. Young Jock now has the power. He's no longer asking for screen time. He doesn't need love or hip-hop to stay relevant. He has his own brand, platforms, audience, and most crucially, voice. If he returns, it will be on his own terms. He's not going back to be the comedic relief. He's not coming back to fight in barbershops. He's not coming back to be performed on national television. He'll come back as a man who knows. While they attempted to turn him into a joke, he transformed the joke into a legacy, which the true ones see and the fans feel. Perhaps that's the biggest flex of all. He now plays the game better. And the machine, well, it's starting to shake. So now the emphasis switches not to who's holding the peach, not to who's fighting over brunch, not to who's crying on the reunion, couch. But to the one who left the room and is still young Jock sees the show, that's power. That's impact. That's young Jock. Whether he returns to the love and hip-hop stage or creates his own, totally. Just know they didn't cancel him. They simply reminded him of his true worth. So, the next time you don't see his name in the credits, don't ask why they cut him. Instead, ask who is frightened of him returning. Because when a guy walks away from this is the true story of young Jock and